We are in week 6 of mass communication and society. Last week, we looked at issues of representation and concepts of the active audience, right? And we even looked a little bit at the processes of encoding and decoding, and I gave you a little chart of Stuart Hall's encoding-decoding model, if that's useful for you for figuring out the processes of representation in mass media. This week, we look at the role of technology in mass communication. That is, the technologies of mass media. It's a big topic, obviously, in mass communication. Look at the TED Talks for this in the lecture. Those would be very useful, linking you to some of these experts that are very good at speaking on this issue. And keep in mind, if I were to give you one idea for this week, keep in mind that all new technologies, always since the invention of the radio and the printing press, they lead to all kinds of predictions about how this technology is going to change the world and how all the technologies that came before it are going to go away now that we have this new technology. And most of those predictions end up being wrong or different. Okay, so take a little bit of a critical distance. Think about, a lot of the hype about new technology these days, and think about, is it really that new, right? For instance, the internet. The internet is really a pretty old technology. It was invented in the 1960s. It really wasn't available to the public until the 1990s, but that's 3 decades ago. The whole concept of Web 2.0 was coined back in the 1990s. All right, so this technology is not necessarily new anymore, although it seems to get talked about as being new all the time. Okay, in your discussion, you're going to tackle some of these topics. In your discussion for this week, you have an article to read, plus you have a video to watch. Okay, so make sure you read that article and watch the video before you engage in the discussion. I'm going to be looking for you to be engaging with that content in the discussion for this week. For your critical thinking assignment on streaming content, you have 2 choices. And I just want to mention too, make sure that you're using the scholarly databases, the scholarly articles in those databases in the CSU library. And they're always just a link away, right in your course. You go to the library course guide, okay? Then they've found a bunch of databases that are really applicable to the communication fields. You go to Best Bet Databases, and you go to Communication and Mass Media Complete. That's one of the main databases for our field, but there's also Business Journals database that is useful for thinking about mass media companies and so on. So make sure you're going in there to look for articles before you even start writing your critical thinking assignment. Right? Always do the research first and lead with your research when you're writing. Okay? There's also a second discussion this week that's non-graded. It's optional, but I really encourage you all to submit a rough draft of your final project, at least some of the thinking that you're doing on that. I will respond to you in that peer discussion. So that's just another opportunity for you to get feedback from me this week. There's that you can email me or call me at any time if you need any kind of feedback on thinking about your final project. Okay, I'm available. So again, have a great week.